So yes, here are my shocking predictions. Like the Premier League, La Liga has already started. The Premier League, the La Liga, the Bundesliga, the Serie A, and the League One is about to start. And these are going to be my predictions going into the new season. I'm also going to kind of predict the Champions League as well. Well, I'm not going to predict the Europa League and Conference League because I still need to do a bit more research on that. I still need to study more. And so yeah, let's just kind of get into it. Premier League, La Liga, the Europe top 5 leagues in the world plus the Champions League, and who do I think is going to win and all that stuff. Who do I think is going to be the standout? I could also predict the Premier League player of the season, the league player of the season, but no, maybe that's for another video. So first of all, the Premier League. Who do I think is going to win the Premier League this season? I think that is going to be Manchester City. And if not Manchester City, my alternative Premier League winner is Arsenal. First of all, let's start with Man City because Man City have a very good. Yeah, people may say, okay, oh, they've lost at the Community Shield, bro. Calm down. It's just Community Shield at the end of the day. So what Manchester City although have is that I think they're going to fix their midfield. They already have Elliot Anderson. They might soon end up signing Ayub Boadi. Right, Ayub Boadi might still come in, and they already have Phil Foden, Ryan Cherki, and other players. And plus, you know that Enzo Maresca is a manager that, like, don't let his Chelsea time deceive where he left Chelsea, or Chelsea did not sack him because he just had a bad time with Chelsea. The truth about it is that this guy has a very good style of play that can actually fit well. Like Man City does not need to really adapt to any system, adapt to this thing. He's a player that likes to play quick counter attack. She likes that kind of quick transitions and all that stuff. But maybe sometimes can maybe slow the tempo of the game down. And Man City have the players to maybe play a quick transition. They still have Nico Gonzalez, can control the tempo of the game. Elliot Anderson, they'll still get Ayub Boadi. So Man City have what it takes. Plus, Man City's attack is also going to be amazing. Jeremy Doku, Haaland is going to have another breakout season, another good season as well. So I just think that Manchester City are just going to win the Premier League, right? I think they have what it takes to win the Premier League. Then another alternative team is Arsenal, especially the fact that they've signed this guy. I'm not surprised that he's balling out. Christoph Zolis. Zolis is a baller. He has been balling out in this Arsenal team. I think Arsenal got a very good replacement for Leandro Trossard. And you know, Arsenal can defend their title. They have the defense. They're still adding in Ezri Konsa. So I think Arsenal can still defend their title. But my Premier League favorite is Manchester City. Now in the La Liga, people might be shocked with what I say, but I might be wrong. My La Liga winner is going to be Villarreal. I think Villarreal has what it takes. First, the fact that they just brought in this guy, this former Rayo Vallecano guy, as their manager in terms of Inigo Perez. Inigo Perez can actually transform this Villarreal team with the kind of players that they have. Nicola Pepe, Chajon Buchanan, Mikotadze, Alberto Molero. But if some of their players leave, if for example someone like Mikotadze or some of their star players actually leave, then I think my La Liga favorites this season would be between Barcelona and Real Madrid. But I think for me, my slight La Liga favorite, I would just say they're slightly La Liga favorite, is Villarreal. I think Villarreal has what it takes to compete. Villarreal has what it takes to compete. Like, they can actually compete. I mean, Inigo Perez is also a good manager and all that stuff. So, but if not Villarreal, my alternative winner would be either Barcelona or Real Madrid, because Barcelona, on the other hand, you know, like that, especially that Barca attack going into this news, regardless of if they have a striker or they don't have a striker, if they buy a striker or they don't buy a striker, Barcelona's attack going into the new season is looking very, very exciting. And plus that midfield with Pedri and Rodri in that midfield. And plus, you know that if Barcelona, if last season they spent 27.5 million euros on transfer, if they could do that, they could reach Champions League quarterfinals, they could win the La Liga, they could win the Spanish Super Cup, they could go up against Real Madrid and all. What makes you think they can't do it this season? So, in the terms of the La Liga, I think the La Liga, you know, Barcelona is obviously a strong contender. And then Real Madrid, on the other hand, with the kind of players that they're signing, and and Jose Mourinho is a manager that his philosophy fits very, very, very well, like a glove, with this Real Madrid side, that contain and counter. Just like Real Madrid this season will just be a little bit more defensive, but they will still be very, very good at counter attacks. So Real Madrid has what it takes to win the league. They have the defense, they also have the attack, plus they've also fixed a major problem in their team, which is their midfield in terms of Bernardo Silva. So Bernardo Silva is already in the team, also doing well. Now I think that the Serie A is now going to the Serie A. I think that the Serie A is going to be between. It's for me. I think Inter Milan is going to defend their title. They have what it takes. They have the squad depth. They just brought in Jet Spence, Lautaro Martinez, Marcos Thuram. I think no much explanation needed. I think they will defend their title. Then the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich, then the PSG, then the League One is going to be PSG. Now let us go to the Champions League, and who are my favorites for the Champions League. I do not necessarily have a Champions League favorite, because the reality is that in this new Champions League format, there are no Champions League favorites. But I think these are the only three teams I believe that are really capable of winning the Champions League. I think aside these three teams, I don't think any other team that falls behind these three teams will win the Champions League this season. And that is PSG, Barcelona, and Real Madrid. Now, why do I say PSG? Because first of all, PSG have part-time footballers, bro. That's that PSG, like, they have McDonald players that work, do part-time, and they can still come and play football. Just a joke, but yeah. Now, so PSG, on the other hand, the League One, they will have players, they will be capable of resting their players in League One. They've brought in a lot of squad depth. They brought, what's his name, Ferran Torres, and so many other players. So they will just rest their key players in the Champions League. And plus, PSG is like literally like the most balanced team in the world. Very good defensively, very good attacking wise, very good in midfield as well. On the other hand, Barcelona, I've already explained much for Barcelona why I believe, especially because of that Pedro and Rodri, that midfield, that Barcelona's midfield is looking scary. And going into the new season, Barcelona is most likely going to have the best midfield in the world this season. Plus that attack, especially potentially, you see Rafinha as a false nine, and Hamza Abdelkarim is also a baller, can really be pivotal for Barcelona this season. But it depends on what options, especially if we don't buy a striker this year. I feel like Rafinha can play that false nine, and Barcelona's pressing will be insane. Even if Rafinha does not play false nine, Barcelona's pressing will be insane, and I think Barcelona's defense is going to get better. However, the only thing I'm concerned about with Barcelona is a little bit of that defense, because if there are two players that, if Barcelona really wants to win the Champions League, these two players are going to be key: Gerard Martin and Joan Garcia. And under no circumstance should these two get injured, especially Joan Garcia, because Joan Garcia is a player that will save you in big moments. He will bail you out of certain situations. And Gerard Martin is an incredible defender. I'm already expecting him to have a breakout season. He's going to be at least a top 7. I think he will be at least a top 7, top 10 centre back in the world. And then Real Madrid, on the other hand, I mean, no much to say, especially that Real Madrid in the Champions League are just so much insane of a football team. They're so much insane of a football team. They're very good defensively. Defensively, they're good. Mourinho, so Real Madrid so you cannot count Real Madrid, especially that Madrid in the Champions League are another team.